Afraid this will have to be the last video of the night. So I'm going to indulge myself and play one of my favorite records off of Billboard's Hot 100 of October 26, 1968. And the song at number 60. It's, if you're a Moody Blues fan, you probably remember this song, but a lot of people don't. Well, gosh, it jumped from number 6, it jumped from 83 the previous week, from 83 to 61. Ride My Seesaw by the Moody Blues. They had that hit with Tuesday Afternoon in 1968, and then they had a hit in England, Nights of White Satin in England in 1967, re-released here in the States in 1972, Ride My Seesaw. This is one of the best psychedelic rock and roll records, just jumping right into a psychedelic wonderland. Progressive, the progs coming into play, the progs, the progressive rock bands. There were hints of it in the Beatles, more than hints of it in the Beatles with Sgt. Pepper and some of the garage bands of the 60s. But then you have groups like Moody Blues Traffic and later Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Yes. Well, Led Zeppelin. They're taking what the Beatles had done, the template laid down by the genius of the Beatles and some of the garage bands of the 60s, and they ran with it. Now, Moody Blues had their own original interpretations. Now, Ride My Seesaw, written by John Lodge, the bass player of the Moody Blues. The album, is In Search of the Lost Chord. Or was it the last chord? Bear with me. I can't read my chicken scratch. I can't read anything. I can't read tonight. Let me bring that up for you. I think it's Search of the Lost Chord. Indeed, yes, the Moody Blues. Search of the Lost Chord, Ride My Seesaw. The other single off the album was Voices in the Sky. And this song is kind of got a similar progression like I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band, which went to number 11 here in the States in 1973. Moody Blues. Now, they had this, oh, this is brilliant. It's brilliant in terms of getting played on the underground FM stations here in the States, but not on pop radio. But they had this amazing voice over called Departure, which bled right into the song. The guy starts laughing and it goes right into this record, Ride My Seesaw. I'm going to read you some of that poetry in Departure in just a minute, the opening. They did those spoken parts before. You might remember in the long version of Nights in White Satin, they had this powerful, this stupendous, melancholy spoken part in the long version of Nights in White Satin. Anyway, before I go into Departure, though, the prelude to Ride My Seesaw, the guy who produced this record, Tony Clark. Tony Clark played in the skiffle bands in England. He was a bass player. Played in the skiffle bands in England in the late 50s and early 60s. Later became a songwriter. He wrote a song called Our Song. It was covered by two people. Here in the States, it was covered by Jack Jones, a mainstream singer. And if you're watching this video in England, you might remember the song Mirror Mirror by Pinkerton's Assorted Colors. It went to number 8 in England, written by Tony Clark. He went into production. What happened was the Moody Blues, they had this huge hit with Go Now in 1965 here in the States. And they lost momentum for a while. And Tony Clark was brought in to help the Moody Blues, to resuscitate them. He helped develop their progressive sound, the complex matrix of music, even though he wasn't classically trained. And they made extensive use of an instrument called the mellotron. I mean, we just got a flurry of progressive sounds, of absolutely far out. Yeah, baby, far out. But dadgummit, the song peaked at number 60 on Billboard's Hot 100. No surprise. I guess it just wasn't commercial enough to be top 40. Although I think it was. It peaked at number 61. After jumping 22 notches from 83 the previous week. It was on Billboard's Hot 100 for 5 weeks. Now let's go to the prelude. I got the prelude up. This is the spoken part that goes to Ride My Seesaw, and it goes like this, quote unquote. Be it sight, sound, smell, or touch, there's something inside that we need so much. The sight of a touch, or the scent of a sound, or the strength of an oak, strength of an oak with roots deep in the ground, the wonder of flowers to be covered and then to burst up through tarmac to the sun again, or fly to the sun without burning a wing, to lie in a meadow and hear the grass sing, to have all these things in our memories hoard, and to use them to help us to find. Sounds very pastoral. And then it goes right into Ride My Seesaw. It's the fall of 1968. We're rocking on those psychedelic vibes in America and in England. The Moody Blues on Billboard's Hot 100.